like riding a bike, starting to do a Facebook Live, right? Never forget how to do it. I mean, it can't be that. Actually, I will say, it is actually quite a bit different from other platforms to go live on. It's still probably my favorite. And I think, one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years is why so many creators do the like get ready with me's, because it is when my best thoughts come in. It is when I'm doing my makeup and my hair in the morning that it's like the shower, I get some of my best creative downloads and ideas. And it's because, and this is not just for me, this is for you too. It's because I'm present. It's because I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking about other things. I mean, yes, I'm thinking about my day and the things that I have to get going and get started. But I'm still present and I'm here in this moment. And I used to do get ready with me content all the time. I used to call it like wake up and make up with the universe, coffee with you. I mean, I've called it so many different things throughout my career here on Facebook, which has been amazing. But I was sitting here, well, not sitting here, I was standing here thinking this morning about an amazing session I had yesterday with my client. And if you're here, please drop a comment for me. I have not been live on TikTok for very long, like probably a year, maybe 2 years. I have no idea. An amount of time ago since I went live here. So it would be great to see like what this does to the algorithm. If you're here, drop a comment. But I had this amazing conversation with, coaching session with my clients, a couple of them yesterday. And of course, like the theme that showed up was pretty much the same for both of them, which happens a lot. If you are a coach or if you are a service provider, you can probably relate to this, where your clients start to go through kind of the same things like as a collective, which means A, you're really good at knowing who your ideal client is, and B, it is an opportunity for you to bring that message to a bigger audience. And so that's what I'm doing here. And if you're catching the replay, please type replay. And if this message hits your heart, hits your spirit, I would love to know. And the topic that so one of my clients, we were talking about what I referenced to her is like, I was like, you need an energetic boundary. And she was like, well, can you explain to me what an energetic boundary feels like? And I said, well, that's a great question, except it's going to feel a little bit different to everybody. When you use the word feel, that means you're actually having a physical sensation, right? So that's like going to be, you feel happy, you feel joy, you feel sad, you feel guilty, so everybody feels those things differently in their body, in their emotional, and in their emotional body and in their physical body. Anyway, so we got into, I said, let me give you an example of what an energetic boundary is, and then let's talk about how it might feel for you. And I said, for me, what I want you to think of is, sorry, I'm trying to turn my curling iron on here, is an energetic boundary for me means space, it means distance, and it means sometimes silence, which some people might call no contact. I call no contact is I think extreme cases, not that it's not necessary in those cases, but I like the energy behind silence. And silence doesn't mean silent treatment, right? I mean, if you have ever had somebody use the silent treatment against you, like an adult or a parent or a friend, there's nothing worse. And it is an emotionally immature response to withhold that in that way for that reason, to hurt somebody, right? To harm somebody, to make sure they know like you got them. That's not what we're talking about when I talk about silence. When I talk about silence, I mean in a sense of you are emotionally, physically, mentally retreating. And retreat gets to look like however you want it, and it gets to last however long you need it to last. For some people, that might be a week. For others, that might be, I mean, literally, it could be a year. And there is no shame in how long you need to retreat and regain, I would say regain your energy and your emotional resilience to whatever caused the need to, have this boundary in the first place. And when I started to describe it to her, she got really kind of really emotional about it. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel so guilty. How am I supposed to do this? I'm going to feel so guilty. And I said, well, number one, this other person is not making you feel guilty, because nobody can make you feel anything. And that's a hard one for a lot of people to swallow. Nobody can make you feel anything. Nobody has that power on this planet to make you feel. Now, because you're in charge of your emotions, plain and simple. And that is such a hard reality for so many people. But once you can get it, it can change your life, because then you no longer are ever a victim. You're no longer held captive by thinking somebody else can cause you any energetic harm, because they can't. There's no such thing. I will fight this all the way through and through. There is no such thing as an energy vampire. There is such thing as an energy donor. And they're the same thing. And yet a lot of spiritual practices and teachers out there, gurus, will tell you that there's energy vampires and people can no, you're giving people your energy. You are giving people I say this with you're the problem. If you are being depleted by your energy, it's because you actually aren't being depleted. You're giving it away. I'm sure you can think of somebody right now in your life, in your business, in your career, that you really don't enjoy being with. You really don't enjoy spending time with them. And yet you continuously do it over and over and over again. And that is not them being an energy vampire. That is you being an energy donor. What I do always say, and what I said yesterday was, isn't it funny how it tends to be the same type of people over and over again that you can't access your inner joy when you're around them? And I think about that a lot. Who are the people, and I want you to think about this, who are the people in your life that when you are with them, it hurts your stomach because you were laughing so much? Who are the people in your life that when you are with them, your cheeks hurt from smiling? That is what it means to raise your vibration. That's what it means to be in a high vibe. That's what it means to be in a good frequency. Those people, more of that. How can you incorporate more of that into your life? And that doesn't just have to come from other people. I do want to say, right? We shouldn't, I want to be careful with that word, but other people aren't responsible for your happiness, just as they aren't responsible for your sadness. But again, it's okay to think in terms of who does make it easier to access the positive side, the good feeling emotion. Does that make sense? I hope so. So, with that being said, when she said, how do you deal with the guilt? I don't know that you deal with the guilt as much as you focus on finding your peace. If guilt is the outcome you don't want, what is the opposite experience you do? You don't want to feel guilty. You do want to feel relief. You do want to feel calm. You do want to feel at peace. You do want to feel energized. You want to feel like all of those positive emotions. And when you put your focus there, that's what's going to arise. Not, I'm going to feel guilty. Don't assume you're going to feel guilty. Assume that you're going to feel space, distance, presence for yourself. There's something waiting for you in that space. And the truth of it is you're not giving yourself, you're not putting a boundary up for someone else. You're putting a boundary up for yourself. And when you do that, there are a lot of new, it's new. And anytime you introduce something new, you can expect different outcomes, different emotions, different experiences, it's going to change things up. Assume it's going to change things up for the better. It's that one of my favorite quotes is, you can't keep doing the same. I need to actually get it, the actual, whatever the actual quote is, but you can't keep doing the same things over and over and over again and expect a different outcome. And the same thing goes with giving your time, your energy, your thoughts, your creativity to people that don't respect it, honor it, and when you leave that, you don't feel as good as when you went in. I want to feel better. When I go out with my girlfriends, oh my gosh, it's now, I'm not gonna lie, the only reason that I don't always feel better is because I might have had one too many martinis, and that's fine. That's my choice. Nobody is making me have those. That's my decision, right? But that's the only thing that I ever have a hangover from. It's never never who I've given my time to. It's never who I've given my energy to. And I wish that more people had everybody has the ability to do this. But I do believe that some people are addicted to the emotional chaos that can come from not creating those boundaries, right? Because they're in a cycle, they're in a loop, it is a habit. And in my opinion, habits are probably, my intuition, habits are the hardest thing to establish, and they are the hardest thing to break. No matter what, I'll use myself as an example here. One of the hardest things I have ever done is quit smoking. Now, I quit smoking a long time ago. I quit smoking probably 13, 14 years ago. I should get the date, actually. I could tell you the date. It's the day my dad died. Because I watched him die from COPD. That's what it took for me to finally quit smoking. It's so sad. Anyway, but quitting smoking was the hardest thing that I have ever done because it was a part of my identity. A habit is a part of your identity. It's a part of who you are. And changing who you are means probably changing values. It means changing your environment. It means changing routine. Habit is so much more than just, oh, I'm going to go to the gym every day, or, oh, I'm going to quit smoking. A habit, especially quitting something that is a habit, is really you saying goodbye to a version of yourself. And goodbye is probably, in my opinion, especially from being, oh my gosh, after doing psychic mediumship work for 11,000 readings I've done in 11 years. It's just been an incredible career. And I can tell you that whether it is spirit that has said this or a human being that has said this to me, goodbye is the hardest part. And when you quit something, when you establish a new habit, or I'm sorry, when you try to stop a habit, like, you know, smoking, drinking, maybe a relationship, maybe you don't want to, I don't know, swear anymore, maybe you don't want to miss church on Sundays, like, I don't care, whatever it is, right? You are saying goodbye to a version of you. And our ego never wants to say goodbye. Honestly, I mean, of course, our soul knows that what's on the other side of goodbye is transformation, but our mind and our body doesn't always get on board that easy. So you have to take change, especially a change of a habit, with grace, with space, and honestly, with vision. With a vision of what is on, who is the version, maybe it's not even just a vision, right? But it's who is this version of you on the other side of this habit being released or habit being established. And that can make it just a little bit easier because it's hard. It is. I've gone through some really hard things in my life, but I have to be honest and say that quitting smoking was one of the hardest. And I had to quit for a long time, right? It's not like, even though I went cold turkey and quit, it didn't end there. Like, I had to quit every day for probably I would say the first 3 years I quit. Every time I would go out, I would have to I would have to have talks with myself. I would have to I said no to a lot of things because, especially in the beginning, because I knew that I would be tempted, but I also never cheated once. And staying in integrity with yourself, oh my good Lord, I am so grateful I stayed in integrity. And when you stay in integrity with yourself, tell me, I don't think this is a coincidence, right? It was around the time I quit smoking that I actually, then I got pregnant and then I had my son. And if you know my story, you know that that's when I became psychic. And I believe that so much of that is because, oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought there. Not because I quit smoking, right? But because I stayed in integrity with myself. And when you do that, you start to build trust, self-trust. Because when you tell yourself you're going to do something, and then you do it, and then you stick to it, and then you start seeing really good change come from it, that's when, that's when radical transformation, that's when your gifts, so much of what we want is within how much we trust ourselves. And in fact, when I mentor my clients, they think that we're not gonna talk about the clair senses, right? We're not talking about being clairvoyant. We're not talking about any of that. We're not talking about the chakra system. Nothing. I don't do any of that shit. What I do talk about is self trust. Finding the ways every single day to start trusting yourself and to stay in integrity with yourself. And that, to me, I don't know. There's no other tool. There is no other gift. There is no other energy. There is that knowing. Nothing on this planet can touch that when you have that type of inner knowing. And so that's a long way, but a really good and deep way of thinking in terms of boundaries, change, and being okay, honestly, with I guess saying goodbye, because you know what's on the other side. I also think that if there is a need to have a boundary set with somebody in your life, there is a high probability that you're feeling that way because you aren't being your truest, most authentic self. And if you feel that way with someone, and I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like there's times where, not like you have to water it down by any means, but when I talk about like authenticity, you aren't keeping your thoughts and feelings to yourself for fear of being shamed or ridiculed or laughed at or, you know, something like that, right? And then there's other times where it might just not be setting, I don't want to say appropriate, but like almost like setting appropriate for you to just be like all in, right? So for example, I'm a psychic medium, and there are times where that just doesn't need to be the first and foremost thing that we are talking about, or I'm not like reading all the time, right? But I don't have to hide it. And anytime you feel like you have to hide something, or you're doing it in secret, or you start to project and assume what somebody else might think about it, and it's from a place of like fear and hesitation and worry and concern, and what if they say this? That is not you being true to you. That is not you owning your personal brand. And authenticity is your greatest superpower, because it is truly the ultimate form of self-love and self-care. I love that we have free will and can choose what that level of authenticity is and when we're going to bring it to the world. And sometimes it's stronger than others. So, with that being said, I hope you found something in this. One piece, one word, one insight, you know? I don't always get to do, having a podcast. I don't want to say like it's a lot of work, but it takes time and setup, right? You have to set up the microphone, record, do all the things, edit it, upload. Like, sometimes it's just easier to go live. Sometimes it's just easier to capture something this way. And honestly, it's just kind of more real and more raw. I always have this space, right? I always do, from the time, ever since I've been like, I think ever since probably my mom let me have makeup, I've always done hair and makeup every single day. And when I do, I think about all of these things that the universe shares with me, that I channel during my sessions, inspirational thoughts. And I think that I want to bring them here more, instead of thinking I have to schedule the time to make a podcast, or I have to sit down and write it out as an email. And sometimes I just want to hit live, and whoever captures it, captures it. And whoever hears it, and share it, and hope that you feel it. And not overthink it and not overplan it. So for any of my overthinkers, any of my overplanners, also take this as your sign. You don't have to do that. Sometimes this, like, in the moment, this is where it's at. And if that hits for you, I would love for you to share with me in the comments. Send me a DM. And who knows, I might be right back here tomorrow with another in the moment, get ready with me message.